Hear that? Nothing? Me neither. But that's the perfect spot for your company's name to step into the spotlight. Become an underwriter for As You Mic It and let every episode be your curtain call. Slip a note to podcast@pashakespeare.org for more information.
My arms are not long enough for this ride.
There was a moment that I had the script on Jeffrey's chest. Just reading it.
Like, hold this for a second.
Hello and welcome to As You Mic It, the official podcast of Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival. I'm Jason King-Jones, Artistic Director here at Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival. Today, we're getting the band back together. Joining me are Director of Education and Community Engagement, Kim Carson.
Hello.
And Associate Producer, Connie Behringer.
Hi there.
This season, we've spent time with some artists behind our Legends and Legacy Summer Theater series, talking about the stories, the creative process, and the people who brought each production to life. Now that the season has come to a close, we're gathering around the table one more time to take a look back at the moments that surprised us, the productions that stuck with us, and a few memories from this past season. And whether you've been with us since the first episode or you're just joining us for the first time, we're glad you're here. Let's get started. We've been so busy, y'all, that we haven't even had a minute to be around the table. And that's a sign, I think, of how invigorating and I think how successful the summer has been. Yeah. The stresses, we often talk about stress in sometimes in negative ways, but stress can also be a positive thing at a certain level. And I feel like, boy, has this summer had a lot of like good creative inducing stress, less than in some years I think of the distress.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we're recording this with like 2 days left in the festival. By the time this comes out, we will have wrapped all of our season. Yeah. And I gotta say that I'm kind of sad that it's already over. Yeah. Because it feels like we've just had such an exciting and vibrant creative summer with so many great people. Mm-hmm. I wonder, Kim, since we've not had you in the room nearly as much because you've been so darn busy.
Running here and there.
What have you been running around doing?
A lot of things. So I started the season off co-directing with you, the community tour, As You Like It.
Yeah.
And then went into the Summer Educator Intensive, which is our sort of teaching teachers program. We're focused on bringing rehearsal room practices into the classroom. And that's a whole big thing. That's a lot of fun. And then we had our first ever summer camps happening here. Well, actually, then was Community Day.
In between.
That was a nice big event that we had this year. That went great.
Yeah.
And then the summer camps happened. We had our kindergarten through second graders in the first week. And then we had our third graders through middle schoolers in the second week. And now here we are. At the end of the season.
So let's go back and let's start back earlier in the summer. Co-directing As You Like It with you was a blast. It was so proud of the work that the students did and the collaboration that we had on that. Yeah. Actually, can we talk a little bit about that? Co-directing can be a bit of a challenge, and that might not be a concept that our listeners necessarily know about. Can you, from your perspective, what was that like? Sharing the kind of creative adaptation kind of space, and how we did all of that.
When we first started, I thought to myself, oh man, this could be really great, or this could go really badly. Like this could be no fun at all. And it was the first. It was really great. It was so much fun. Part of it was I was in the, because you're the artistic director, you're pretty busy around here, especially at the beginning of the season. And so I was in the room most days. So I was working with the actors on blocking, putting the thing up on its feet, all of that great process stuff. And then at first you would come in and sort of grab people like for coaching sessions almost, from what I understand. So you'd go in the other room and I'd have the sort of bigger group in the big room. And then there were a few days where we were both in the big room and we were just like, and then this thing could happen, and then this thing could happen. And we were sort of bouncing off of one another and bouncing off of them, our young company. And it just felt like this really collaborative, like everybody had ownership of the thing. Yeah. And that makes me really, really happy when we can run a room like that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I would say it was tricky. There was a moment that was early on. I was like, this scene feels like I understand where they're going with it, but I think we need to break a couple of things down and like try version B of the thing in order to get to the destination that everybody is wanting to go. And, as a director, and also knowing that like positionally, like I'm the boss, like I know that like it can be a challenge to work in that space and kind of go like, I'm going to present something. And even if you hate it, you're probably not going to tell me. So let's just hope that it's better.
Right. But I would tell you. I would tell you.
And I appreciate that. And I think but that doesn't come easily.
Yeah.
But
that's a testament to you though, too, that you create the kind of environment that is, that allows for that. That's collaborative in that way versus I'm the boss, do what I say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's funny because when we were talking with Jeffrey Kent last week about the Extreme Shakespeare Project, there was a similar theme happening there that I feel like that idea of collaboration kind of top to bottom and really helping to support a space where the best idea in the room wins is I hope the kind of collaboration that we celebrate here at the festival.
Yeah.
And that very much happened with As You Like It and then working with the actors. And so then ultimately what the result of that was then when we got to watch the performances, especially after a week of them really having it in their bones, was like, man, this young company knows exactly what they're doing. They know what's up. They're owning these moments. They're owning this text. And we were at the Levitt Pavilion at Steel Stacks and performing for like 300 people. And I'm like, this is a Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival production, and these people are getting, it's a free show, so they're definitely getting their money's worth, but they're getting a great representation of the quality and the clarity of storytelling. And I feel like if we can do one thing really well, it's just like tell the story really damn well, because we're dealing with great plays anyway. So if we can just be clear with the storytelling, then the story will do the job.
Yeah, and I have to give a shout out to the young company too. Our young company this year is so strong.
Oh yeah,
these students from DeSales are really great actors, and they know how to be in the rehearsal room. Yeah, they know how to be collaborative artists in that way. So that was really wonderful working with them. And I want to say I'm really proud of us as a teaching theater too. You say this all the time. We're a teaching theater. We work with young actors, and that's part of the deal, right? Yeah. And all the education stuff that we brought this year, I'm really proud of all of that work that we've done.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. If there's anybody listening who's thinking about where their high school students are going to go off to college, might we recommend DeSales University? Because boy, it would be great to work with them.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
No bias there. So then you rolled into the summer educator intensive,
right?
And I'm wondering if you can help us understand what the process was like a little bit. What did you learn from it? What kind of feedback did you get from that?
So planning for, we call it SEI, the Summer Educator Intensive. Planning for that starts way in advance. Like I'm planning now for next year already. And I line up a couple of instructors and a couple of folks who are coming in as guests for like one-day masterclass things. Like we had Pulitzer Prize winning playwright James Imes do a workshop for us. We had David Pica, who's an actor on our stage, also teaches, who's an excellent educator, doing a lot of text workshops. I had Jestel Canton, who's a wonderful educator and wonderful actress herself in the Philadelphia area, come in and teach, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so we line up these really awesome guests and instructors, and then we send the word out to schools all over, period. All over. And folks come here, and you can stay overnight, or you can do a local option if you live nearby. And you really immerse yourself in this 6-day hands-on workshopping experimental experience where you come out with a list of activities to bring back in your classrooms. You come out with a better understanding of how to do Shakespeare, how to teach Shakespeare, how to direct. And it's not just Shakespeare. I find a lot of the feedback that we're getting from our educators is like, I use this in my lit class. I use this in my American lit class. I use this in my science class. Because we do things like warm up and ensemble building and like classroom connections. And there's a little bit of everything to help teachers to take back into the classroom. And sort of the tagline is rehearsal room practices in the classroom. Yeah. Because when we're in rehearsal, it's experimenting. It's collaboration, like we talked about. Yeah. And the only way to really learn something is to have ownership of it. And so we're giving teachers resources to take back to the classroom so that their students can have ownership and also have a good time learning. Like learning should be fun, right? So that's what we're hoping to do with our teachers. So right now, also our teacher, we are an approved provider of Act 48 credit hours. So it's a professional development opportunity. But next year, we're in process with DeSales University and kicking it up a notch that we're going to be able to provide graduate school credits for this course as well. So you'll get 3 credits in 6 days, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
Really exciting.
Yeah, that's in process. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of legwork, a lot of approval to make all of that happen. So check back with us in the spring with it. But that's definitely we've got a lot of support from DeSales to make that happen. They're excited about it, and so are we. So that we're moving in that direction.
And our teachers are having a great time, learning a lot. But I'm going to brag for a second. I had 2 teachers tell me this year that it was the best professional development thing that they've ever done as a teacher. And so we're having an impact on their work. We're making them excited to get back into the classroom the following year. And that feels really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's quickly, Kim, just touch on the camps experience. And then I want to kind of get into like some of this artistic work that we've been doing on the stages as well.
Yeah.
So we launched some summer camps.
We launched some summer camps for some kids. We tie-dyed T-shirts. We did. It was pretty cool. We sort of set up this structure at the beginning. I really served as facilitator to all this. I was cruise director for the camps, and we hired some really amazing, again, really wonderful educators who are also professional actors. They really know what they're doing, and like kind of set them loose in the classroom. And the first week was with our kindergartners through 2nd graders.
Our Shakespeare Sprouts.
And the Sprouts do a lot of like imaginary play and call and response. And we get them speaking Shakespeare's language, and we get them understanding. This year it was Romeo and Juliet, the play that we studied. And then they get to see Sheila the Magical one of the days in camp. And we also made puppets with them, and they got to make puppet characters. And it was just so much fun while we taught them real skills that they can use then as they start to get older and hopefully continue their love of theater. And then the second week, we had our 3rd graders, 3rd through 5th grade in one section, and then we had our middle schoolers in another section. And a lot of that, we put them together in a lot of the exercises and games and things like that we ran. And then we'd also separate them for some sort of deeper text work with the middle schoolers that wasn't quite appropriate for the younger ages, things like that. So everybody's doing work that's age appropriate, but everybody's learning about a Shakespeare play. Everybody's learning new language. Everybody's being creative. Everybody's working together. Everybody's making cool stuff. We have sort of workshops in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we've done this thing that we called Stagecraft Corner. And so, for example, one day they made masks and costume designs with a whole bunch of different fabric swatches for the Capulets and the Montagues party. And stuff like that, like thinking like theater makers, we get them to do. And then we kick the whole thing off at the end and say goodbye with a really cool showcase. So we get to show parents and loved ones and friends what we've been working on all week.
What did the grown-ups think about what the kids did?
They seem to love it. They like big old dumb smiles on their faces the whole time. A lot of people recording, a lot of people watching through their phones. But it's very simple. It's not a performance camp. It's not, in 2 weeks we're going to put up Little Women or whatever. Like we're not doing that,
Very
right?
Little Women.
We're very little women.
Teeny women.
We're again, I really love the process of learning.
Sure.
And I think with my philosophy, and because I get to make this thing,
Right.
we're going to go with my philosophy. I really think learning should be fun.
Yeah.
And we should be teaching these skills, not only because we want these kids to grow up and love theater or be a part of theater, but because collaboration and communication is something that's really important, and critical thinking skills and creative thinking skills. These are important things.
Well, what do you think about the school of thought when that says the pressure of getting to a performance helps somebody kind of learn about the need to achieve deadlines and the importance of getting to an opening night?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you have to say about that when it comes to this kind of stuff?
I think that is important. And the way we sort of achieve that is through the showcase.
Okay.
So it's more about process rather than product in that way. But also there is an objective that we are headed towards at the end of the week. We know that we're going to put our work and show our work in front of other people. Now, however we come to that work, or whatever that work ends up being, is a question mark kind of until the end of the week. But we do have that. They do get that performance nervousness on the day of the showcase and like all of that stuff, you know. So to me, it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's funny. I've always wanted, and I think it's tricky to do because you always want to do that showcase at the final week, especially if it's only a 5-day camp, right? Maybe if on a 2-week, you might be able to do it on day 9 instead of day 10. But you kind of want to have that time to kind of debrief with them afterwards. Say like, okay, what was that like? Right? Like, how do you feel? Like, talk to me about your emotions, your feelings. How did you succeed? Or like something happened that you didn't expect. What did you learn from that?
Yeah.
It's the only part of that, like in such a truncated amount of time, we don't quite get to have that debrief time.
You always wish for more time.
That's true.
You always wish for more time because the kids are making friends. They're having such a good, nobody wants to leave. That's what was so great. At the end of nobody wanted to leave. Everybody hung out. You know, there were parents exchanging contact information because their kids are going to have play dates later in the summer, and people asking when our next classes are because they want to get back in the classroom with us. And it's exciting. And you wish you could run it another 2 weeks, but we don't, obviously you can't do that.
So what we need to do is we need to actually sell this camp as a way for parents to meet other parents.
That's
so like if you're feeling isolated socially and you have a small person, you can make friends too. Bring your kid to a theater camp and then share contact information.
It's one of our core values.
Relationships. I love it.
All right, so let's swing over into some of the artistic experiences. The 9 shows, the 149 public performances in 10 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. What are some of the highlights, Connie? What were some of the highlights for you from the working with the actors and the experience, the artistic experience?
Well, honestly, this whole year has been a little bonkers. I had been doing a lot to sort of pull together all of the logistics of getting the actors here. Right. And I'd been working with them so closely on the early side of things that by the time they get here, it was like homecoming, just seeing everybody for the first time or seeing everybody again. Right. And having them here, it was so remarkable just seeing them being a part of this theater making experience. When we start looking all the way back to the piano lesson and going down to Philly for those rehearsals and being able to see those folks. And I feel like there was a lot of fangirling on my part because I love James. I love his work. And I was so excited to meet him. And then also seeing Terrence Clough. For those who don't know, Terrence is also part of the Marvel Universe. He's been in the MCU. He was on She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. I was so excited to meet him and I was a little starstruck. So I'm just like, I want to hang out with you so much. Let's be best friends. So, there was a lot of that moment going on and just finally being able to see the work that these people are making and seeing these sort of remarkable productions that are coming out of everybody. We had a lot of work that we did pulling together the $1 Million Quartet. Right. And that was such a real game of Tetris, getting the look right and getting the right people and making sure that they're authentic to the story and seeing that they're up there doing their thing and they're telling a story, but then they're also these remarkable musicians. And, I keep thinking I had a hand in that. I did part of that. And it was such a remarkable thing to see everything just really coming to life. And, last year I had this thing where I would put big X's on the calendar and really sort of count down the days where this is finally going to be over. I love it. So I love the work that we do.
Like a prisoner sketching into the cinder block.
Just like grabbing my shiv and like cutting a hole. No, I love the work that we do. But last year there was so much drama off the stage that the drama that was on the stage was a little bit eclipsed for me. And so this year I look and I'm like, oh, we're at week 10 already. Oh my gosh, I have to say goodbye to you already.
Yeah.
I can't deal on any level because this has been so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's been so remarkable watching the creativity and watching everybody grow as artists, and even seeing some of our young company members just absolutely blossom into these amazing actors. They've been killing it.
Yeah.
So it's just been too much fun watching all of this. And I really can't get over how much fun all of the company is having this year. Just being together and having activities outside of the theater. It's just been really great to watch. You know, it's like proud mom moment.
Yeah, I totally feel that. Specific things. Anybody want to talk anything about specific moments? I mean, you mentioned $1 Million Quartet. You mentioned something about James Iams and also about Terrence. It's funny. I spend a lot of time away from technology. I try to have a pretty healthy distance from it. I mean, we have to be involved in social media to know what's going on, and we have to, watch movies and TV and film to know about artists and actors. But I've stopped being a fan of anybody for a long time, which allows me to not worry so much about putting people on pedestals.
Yeah.
And we're also really fortunate that people like James Iams are some of the most humble and generous and kind people that, and that could be the way, the kinds of artists that we bring here we want people to be down to earth. We want people to be collaborative. We want people to be on an equal playing field.
Yeah.
It could be that, or that's the people that I'm attracted to artistically and creatively. I feel like we're much better off when we're a strong ensemble than when we are having stars that we're trying to keep elevated and then try to feel earn their respect.
Yeah.
So.
That makes a lot of sense. Someday I'll get there, Jason.
I don't know, man. You got some heavy D&D nerd genes going on.
You know what? I blame you entirely for this because you're the one who brought in the complete works of Jane Austen. And, from the get-go, I'm sitting there during David Pica's audition last year, sitting with Jessica, asking her, do you really think that cantrip could take down a dragon? I mean, literally, you're the one who started this whole thing. You know what? If we didn't do the complete works, I would be happily in my little cave rolling my dice by myself. Nobody would know. Everybody would be none the wiser.
Amazing. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the complete works of Jane Austen Abridged because that was kind of the sleeper hit of the summer.
Oh my gosh. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. I saw it with another thing that I did this summer. I'm now in the MFA program for creative writing here.
Because you're not busy enough.
And exactly. And I came with my cohort, all these very, very smart, thoughtful, lovely people. And we had the best time.
Yeah.
Between the boob jokes and the David Pica putting that hat on and all magically knowing the lines and becoming the character and then being whoa, what the heck is with this? It was just so much fun. It was so much fun.
It felt like the first half of the summer had a really strong theme, piano lesson notwithstanding, which was a heck of a way to start our season.
Brilliant.
Focused on legends and legacy and talking about the American experience. And a beautiful artistic piece, beautifully rendered by director James Iams with a fantastic company and an amazing design. That piece really kind of set the tone for the kind of quality of art and the quality of storytelling that we want to be doing. And then you kind of got to $1 Million Quartet and Jane Austen Abridged. And these pieces, along with, and then I would also say with As You Like It, because it was very much about being out in the community, that those pieces very much were in relationship with their audience. And the way that they interacted and fed off the audience, the finale of $1 Million Quartet, which took a pretty good play about a very talented group of musicians cast by an incredibly talented group of actor musicians that was good and impressive, but then it turns and elevates in such a way in that finale that everybody walking out is just that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen because of the way that their cortisol levels all spiked from being in the crowd, from Elvis putting a scarf out for an old, for one of their patrons, or Jerry Lee Lewis and that piano solo. Everybody's just that was, so it was a performance event that really held the audience in a big bear hug. And similarly, Jane Austen also was an audience experience that is masking as a piece of drama. Right? It's how do we make the audience have a great time? Well, we'll do this thing, but it's with the audience in deep relationship. That is a very different kind of theater than then Moriarty, then Romeo and Juliet, then Coriolanus, which of course are interactive and have moments where they connect with the audience, like Shakespeare's plays often do. And Moriarty has the actors are keenly aware that the audience is around, and part of that's just the shape of the stage that has a thrust that in relationship physically with the audience. But yeah, that first half just felt like let's just play with our audience. Let's make the audience feel great through the theatrical medium.
Yeah.
That's just about again, making people feel fantastic. And that's what Jane Austen $1 Million Quartet did in spades. And As You Like It, and we crafted it, but also adding a lot of music and making it all end with a feeling like we're really all together in this beautiful experience in whatever physical surrounding we happen to be in, indoors or outdoors or whatever. And so that first half just felt very much like we love you, the audience. We want to celebrate this art form with you in community. And then we turn the page into the second half, and we open up our rep, and we do our Extreme Coriolanus, and we get our children's shows. And there's like a more meatiness that kind of happened especially with Romeo and Juliet, and then the craft of the storytelling with Moriarty, and the muscularity of what's required to do that extreme Shakespeare. There was just we kind of shifted into a different gear and kind of got deeper into the work, is what it felt like for me anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I love the way you phrase that. And one thing though, when I think about the piano lesson, getting back to that, when people think about August Wilson, they have these sort of preconceived notions about the depth and the pain and the pathos of everything going on. And I think that the way James presented it showed the humor and the love and the family in that, and putting that on that stage and giving our audiences a way giving our audiences a way to feel like I can watch August Wilson and I can appreciate August Wilson because August Wilson is America's playwright.
Yeah.
Everybody can take something from that.
Sure.
And just giving that gift to our audience was, I think, an amazing way to kick off a season, because that in itself was so high energy.
Sure.
And then going into $1 Million Quartet, where there is that high energy. I think that there was a wonderful theme that took it all. And then once we hit Romeo and Juliet, people are energized and they are inspired by live theater and they want in. And then what you did with Romeo and Juliet was remarkable. I told you this before, and I'll say it again. When I think about Romeo and Juliet, initially I thought this is a love story about two kids, which it is, but it's also a story about a community and the struggles of a community and the devastation in a community.
Sure.
And all of those things are there and part of it. And those are the things that I did not learn about when I was in high school. Those are not the things that I took away from it.
Sure.
I just parents are awful, So, when you talk about getting into this sort of meatier part of the season, I could definitely see where you're coming from that point of view.
There was a lot of joy in these plays.
Yeah.
And when given an opportunity to play into anger or hate or rage or any kind of strong negative emotions that could be in the text and you could lean into. So many of our artists this year chose to find the love so much more. There was so much love in that family in the piano lesson. And I've seen versions of the piano lesson where those fights between Bernice and Boy Willie are hot. They're fiery and there's a lot of anger between the two of them that may have a love underneath it, but the anger is really what's on the surface. And whether it was James directing or Jess Johnson as Bernice or Akeem, they went in a different direction. There was so much love and a need for the family to hold together because they've had to deal with so many other people causing them pain that as a family, they weren't going to do it to each other. And so there was so much joy in that play and so much love, deep love in that play that is absolutely in the text. And I think one could argue, and I think these artists would argue that that's actually what this play is intending to do, is to show that and show the resilience of the family in the face of all the forces against them. And then with the Romeo and Juliet, particularly the Capulet and Montagues with Cassia and with Mabud, they insisted to not fall into, I think they would call it a trap. I think many people will call it just the historical performance practice of Capulet and Montague being a little bit aloof about their daughter, a little bit transactional about the marriage. And I think some of that had to do with them being self-aware of how their own background, their own culture, Mabud being a Persian actor and Cassia Thompson being a Black American woman, about not letting this story become about anything that presented to them a family that was not anything but a loving family.
Yeah.
And it was all in the text. And they found reasons for these families to really love their daughter, which I think anybody who has a teenage daughter desperately loves their daughter. And you often fall into the trap of these tragedies of playing that ending. That's what we call it, don't play the end.
Right.
But the ending is, of course, they've made these mistakes, they weren't paying attention, and now their children are dead. But what we found with this is a story that the family that deeply loves their daughter wants what's best for their daughter in the circumstances they have. And we filled that Capulet family with so much joy that then when things started to go south, then when the miscommunications happened, the tragedy was felt that much more deeply.
Yeah, it added a new layer. That acute tragedy, right?
Yeah.
But it added a new layer that these are, people contain multitudes, right? Like they don't have to be just bad guys. And so many times you see that play where they're just bad guys.
Yep.
And they are flawed.
Sure.
They are flawed human beings, yes.
Yeah.
But I thought it was such an interesting and lovely choice that they made there.
Yeah. And I don't think I can see it any other way right now as well.
Yeah. It really changed my entire view of Romeo and Juliet. Every single version that I had seen before that really did not show that parental love and desire for the parents to do what is best for their kids. And thinking about this as a parent, thinking about this as one of the elders in the community, I think about, okay, I want to do everything in my power to make sure that I set my kid up for success.
Yeah.
And when I was watching this, that's the choice that the Capulets made.
Yep.
And they want to set their daughter up for success.
Yes.
And seeing it now, that makes the deaths even more tragic.
Yeah.
It's not just two kids, finding that this is their only way out.
Yeah.
But it is about an entire family, an entire community that watches their future die, and it is just so devastating. It was a really beautiful, beautiful representation.
Yeah, thank you. And, I feel like, so when you think about Coriolanus and you think about Moriarty, you think about Romeo and Juliet, it was the power of interpretation to really elevate a story. Moriarty, it's the interpretation that Matt Pfeiffer did with the creative team, including Alex Bechtel and Brian Sidney Bembridge and Tom Weaver. Yeah. Right. And the whole team, that what they did is they took a play and then found a way to interpret that story, to really elevate that story. Yeah. And through the power of interpretation, now an audience will never be able to see that play again the same, especially, or hear it again, because now we have all these musical themes that, as far as we're concerned, are tied directly to this Ken Ludwig's Moriarty. Yes. And then the power of interpretation with Coriolanus, when you strip away all the trappings and you give the power to an ensemble to interpret the text and interpret the story in an extreme Shakespeare way, you watch you watch these actors really take control of their roles and their world, and focus on real clear storytelling. And it's through that power of interpretation, I think that we're able to help our audiences experience these plays maybe for the first time, or if not for the first time, in totally fresh ways.
And speaking of experiencing Coriolanus in a totally fresh way, Jason, a little bird told me that you went on one night because there was an injury on stage and you came in with a very extreme Shakespeare.
Yeah, we put the yellow highlighter. The yellow highlighter to the word extreme. It was Sunday afternoon. It was at the end of week 1 and of a 2-week run. Right. My son Elliot is playing young Caius in Coriolanus, And so I'm dropping him off, even on days that I don't really have anything on my calendar around the showtime. I'm around because I'm the artistic director and we have a short-lived festival. So I'm dropping off Elliot, and then I'm here to say hi to our patrons. And, and I have the opportunity, since I'm waiting for Elliot, to stick around and see people at the end and talk with them and greet them. And that's, we're building community. It's a tent revival that's, for theater. So it's important that I'm around, and like a good preacher, I'm shaking hands as people are leaving the church at the end of the service. But so I knew that I was going to be there anyway, and I was getting ready to doing prep work for the Willpower tour of Julius Caesar, just working on some cuts, sitting in Josanne's office. My wife is the director of production for Act One, the DeSales University students, and she's got an office right there. So just sitting in the office doing this, and then I got a text that David Pica had gotten injured and had got a cut on his thumb that was concerning, and we didn't really know what was going to be happening, and that was in Shakespeare's Act One, so early on in the play. And so then we all determined basically that he needed that it was important for him for his own medical health, and important for us that he went to the urgent care, get some stitches, which meant that Tullus Ophidius wasn't going to finish the play in the body of David Pica, and without somebody stepping in, the show would have to stop, and that wasn't going to happen. So it was pretty. It didn't have to really think about it. I was like, David, I'll put on your hat, I'll put on your flak jacket, I'll get a script, you go get your stitches, and we'll carry on. And so it took a little bit of time just to make sure that was going to happen, but then it did. And then, man, the stage management team leapt into action. Ashani Smith, the PSM, left the booth and was just like, let the board operators just call their own cues for lights and sounds while she was down there printing off a script and highlighting it for me. Marissa, our intern, she was getting stuff ready. Maz, our assistant stage manager, was basically doing all the first aid, putting
she was like rinsing out the wounds.
She was putting to work all of her first aid skills from her time as a lifeguard. And so like everybody was springing into action, and Kevin White, our director of production, was going to get like staplers and whatever, like anything that we needed. He got me boots. The costume shop grabbed pants for me, and I'm like, those aren't going to fit. I'll just wear what I'm wearing right now. I grabbed David's sweater, and then I'm like, okay, now just give me the script. And I have contact lenses in. I'm really good at seeing distance, but I got to tell you, 10-point font is not easy with these contact lenses. But I didn't have my reading glasses on. I'm like, I was going to have to hold this at arm's length. But then, like I'm getting the script, we're figuring it out, and we're like, okay, these are like 4 scenes. Okay, get me a stapler so that I can staple these 4 scenes. And I'm looking at Kim, because Kim had to go on in the Young Company show for with like 10 minutes notice.
Right.
I feel like that's lower stakes though.
Well,
because it was a small role in the kids show, and
still it happened. And
Coriolanus is
Tullus Ophidius, like
it's a different lift. Just different.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you, if I had to go on for Romeo and Juliet, pick a role, I wouldn't need the script. I'd be good to go. I know that thing by heart because I've done it so many times. But Coriolanus, no. I mean, fortunately, I saw the run a couple of times, again, because of my job, and also trying to give some notes to Elliot to make sure that he was really kind of like matching his work with everybody else's. But so I kind of knew where David walked around, but I'm like, okay, so 4 scenes. So like we're stapling them separated. We're highlighting my cues. We're highlighting the text that I'm trying to read it out loud. We held the house for a little bit during intermission while we practiced. That's right. I have to stab Coriolanus at the end of the play, and then I have to help do a body lift and lift him up and carry him out. So like we had to stage that, and then just like running the scenes in as much time that I had. And then I really felt like I had a handler who, like, for a different scene, was like, okay, walk me over here. Okay, what am I doing? I'm entering here. So we walked through everything in the acting studio once, and then I was like, my body is a green light. Grab me where you need to grab me and push me around as you need to push me. And then, with Jeffrey, he was like, yeah, in this scene that you have with me, like I just stand here and you walk around me, and I'll just do whatever you need to do. But there was one moment where I'm realizing that he's my arch enemy and he's in my house and he's offering his knife to me to either kill him or not. But he's not, but he's offering himself to me in my service. And I'm like, okay, I hate you, and you're now, basically yielding to me, and you are the person that can help me get Rome. I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm trying to read this text that I've read twice, and at one point I had to flip the page. Like I had the knife at his neck, and I'm supposed to stand him up, but I also need to turn the page. And so I'm just there for a second, and I say hold to Jeffrey / Coriolanus, and he kind of helped hold the knife for me at his neck while I then turn the page. Audience laughs, and then we kind of go on with the text. And then and I'm embracing him. I kiss him on the cheek. I'm shaking his hand. We're going off together. And we're like, okay, that one's done. What's next? No time to really, go, wow, this was cool. It's just like, okay, well, what do I have to do next? What's happening next? I was like, oh, this is the smoke break scene.
That must have been fire for the audience. Like, that must have been such a fun night at the theater. First of all, it's extreme anyway. So actors are like listening in a new, different way without that long rehearsal process, right?
Yeah.
But then to put a brand new person, it's almost like they're seeing how it works in rehearsal, where you're just putting stuff out there and people are reacting to it, right? Like that must have been so much fun. I wish I had been there. I wish I had been at that.
I think they all loved it. Josanne texted me early on because she was like, "What's going on?" I heard that. I'm just like, and she was like, "Should I come over?" And I'm like, "If you want to, it's crazy." And then I just took my phone and shoved it in my shoe. I was like, "I can't talk to anybody right now. I'm just gonna be over here trying to get through this next thing." There was a scene where there was a smoke break, and I was just like, "Oh, thank God, I can just stand here and just like pretend to smoke and just slow down for a second while I read this piece."
It was so surreal.
So cool.
It was. I didn't have time to feel anything. I'm just like, because whatever I'm feeling was irrelevant, because I was like, I had a job to do and I just had to do it. And I have so much sympathy for all these actors, for all the work that they have to do, particularly our understudies. And so just also, as we're wrapping up this, a real shout out again, one more time to our young company who have to do so much understudy work. And we had other understudies in the season this year, some people with real special skills for $1 Million Quartet, and then Michael Koval, who we hired to step in for Sam Phillips and also be the drummer, never thinking that we did actually have to go on. And he went on with a day and a half of rehearsal on opening night of $1 Million Quartet to play Sam Phillips, which, although he doesn't play instruments in the show, he essentially is the protagonist of the play, and he knits everything together. And Michael went on in very limited amount of time, completely off book.
He was wonderful.
He was great.
Yeah,
he
fantastic.
totally brought it. So we started our main stage season with an understudy. We have our young company who are playing ensemble roles and then also ready to go on. We had a situation where we had to bring in an outside cover for Ian Peaks for a couple of weeks, just in case he had to be pulled away for film shoots, which he wound up not. So Dan Hodge never actually came on stage, but flew in from Croatia to be ready to jump into tech for all of this. Kim, you went on in Sheila the Magical again with very little warning to keep that show going. And then of course, then it rounded out with me with no rehearsal time, kind of having to play universal understudy for Tulsa Phidias. But that's part of I think, again, our audiences love it because they love experiencing live theater, and in live theater, the unexpected is going to happen. You just don't know how.
That's right.
So to everybody who helped make this possible, and again, without a sea of people backstage, Peacock as a dresser wiping that blood off of David Pika, the whole stage management team, and Kevin, and our dressers from both shows, who were all kind of like, well, what is this? What does that show need right now? Well, let's help it out. Without all of that support, we wouldn't have been able to keep that show going. Like it's, somebody said something like, I think it was Susie, was like, I saved the show. I'm like, no, we saved the show. We all did to make that happen. And it's a real testament, I think, to what, it's at its heart, what a live theater company can do, and what I think we're starting to really find that formula here at Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival, kind of creating that ensemble, that group of folks who want to work and play together, and willing to lift each other up. And that's I think it's really special. And people, and as you said, Connie, people are feeling it in the audience. People are telling us that this has been a great season. It's been great. They're feeling it in the performances. And I think it starts from a really great production team, a really great casting team, really great education work. And also just to say, while we're recording all of this, we did all of this with a director of development, but he left for a new job on June 1st. So we've been missing our major fundraising person in our development office. And our business manager has been on medical leave for the entire summer. So our payroll and our business team have been operating through Casey and our interns, Madison and Ruth Ann, that just to make sure that people continue to get paid and that bills get paid and that things get entered into our financial software for our audits. All of this is happening while we're still running all of this. Without that kind of community of support, we couldn't do this. And so it just takes so many people to make this happen. And for that, we're entirely grateful. And for everybody who's been listening to our As You Might It podcast this season, we're grateful for your audience, your listenership, your support. We've got more in store coming up. And I think that's probably going to bring us to a close for this episode of As You Might It. Any final thoughts, Connie or Kim?
I can't wait for next season.
I said this to you the other day, but I'm going to share it with our listeners too. The other day I was standing in the lobby and we had a harpist playing and some music before the show. And I'm getting ready to do the curtain speech. I had just done the prologue. And I'm just listening to these two singers like singing this gorgeous harmony. And all these people are standing around in the lobby, like hanging out, listening, like having their drinks or whatever. And I was like, this is my job. Like how lucky are we that we get to do this?
Kim, I had this conversation with Bill this morning about what would you do if you won the lottery? You know, because it's up to like $800 million right now. And I was thinking, Bill's like, would you keep working? And I'm like, yeah, I would keep working. I really love this place. And I love what I do. I love my job. Maybe I would hire an assistant just for myself. Jason, you don't get an assistant, just me.
It's your lottery.
Yeah. It's my fantasy here. I get an assistant to help me do paperwork that I hate. Yeah.
Understood. I would just delegate more of my paperwork to you then.
I'm like, oh, I have a person to help me with that. Give me all of your paperwork. Here you go.
Yes, indeed. This is our job. And we are fortunate to have it. We're fortunate to be able to put these people together and just really grateful for all of the work that everybody does to make this happen.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of our second season of As You Might It.
Yes.
To everyone who joined us this summer, whether you listened to every episode or found us somewhere along the way, thank you so much. It's been great sharing these conversations with you and introducing you to the artists, storytellers who make Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival what it is. Our 2026 Summer Theater Series has come to a close, but the work never stops. We're already looking ahead to what comes next, and we can't wait to share it with you. On behalf of Kim Carson, Connie Behringer, and everyone else here at Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival, thanks for spending your summer with us. Until next time, I'm Jason King Jones. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at La Buddha.
Thank you for listening to As You Might It, a Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival presentation recorded on the beautiful campus of DeSales University. Our music is by Cedric Lamar, with hosts Jason King Jones, Kim Carson, and Connie Behringer. Our podcast intern is James Nardiello. For more information on our summer theater series, giving opportunities, tickets, and more, visit our website at pashakespeare.org. Be sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you at La Buddha.
Behind every standing ovation is a network of patrons who know that theater changes lives. With tickets funding only half the cost, PSF counts on contributions to produce world-class theater, cultivate new audiences, and nurture future generations of artists. Give today at pashakespeare.org/support. Great theater is a collaboration both on stage and off.